What's up, Starcraft fans? Today we're doing the tier list for Injustice League, aka Mutation Creation Contest winner on Rifts to Core Hall. Brian, let's hear the mutation.
Rifts to Core Hall is the map where we have to destroy 10 void shards before timer runs out. Each set of void shards we destroy adds time and reveals the next set. Enemy heroes escort attack waves. They buff their friends, and they reduce all damage to 10 per hit if they have friends nearby.
So we have Tutu and Evelyn in Cobra today. How are you guys?
Good.
Good. Okay. So Evelyn, how do we rank the commanders this week?
This week is going to be a little rough one. Rifts to Core Hall is a relatively easy map, but just because of the heroes that are buffed and giving buffs, they can make it really a grind. You're going to need to be able to tank the heroes, because with Hardened Will and Inspiration, they're going to be outputting some serious damage.
Terrible damage on both sides.
And then you got the usual attack waves to be contending with. Any commander that can do a good amount of tanking, but can also dish out significant firepower or negate the heroes somehow, like crowd control them, then definitely they're going to be rated higher.
Okay. How about you, Tutu?
So this is basically like, in addition to how good you are at fighting heroes, you also have to do the objective, and the heroes take longer to kill, which means that going up like the middle base is gonna take a lot longer. So if you can find a way to fly around and deal damage to the objectives, that will be a lot better than just going through the front door.
Makes sense. Okay, let's begin. Abathur, where do we have him?
For Abathur, he can spawn camp. So if the enemies are all ground units, that's fine. But if they're not, then that's not good. Because if you haven't killed all the enemies and then the heroes step on toxic nests, it does 10 damage apiece, which is a lot of wasted damage.
Wasted.
So yeah, when like Nova comes, she's gonna snipe the crap out of Brutalisks. So that's no good either. You will need to get enough. You'll need to farm enough biomass quick enough so that you can get Vipers with full biomass, and you have to keep them safe so that they don't get sniped. And you have to use your abilities wisely. So it's gonna, because of air units giving Hardened Will to the enemies, it's gonna be a lot harder. If it's all ground, he's actually pretty good. If it's not, though, he's gonna have a lot harder time. So I put him in B.
Okay. How about you, Evelyn?
Yeah, I also have Abathur from B to C. He has the tools to do it, but it's going to be tight.
It's a little tight across the chest.
On how well you control it. As Tutu said, Nova Snipe, Zagara, not as bad, but still with her Baning Barrage and the Roach Drop, it can definitely wreak some havoc on you. Just do your best to take care of all the non-heroes first, so that can get rid of the inspiration, and then so that way that they're less of a threat. And once you can get rid of that, then you just focus down on the heroes. Just try to be patient with this. You're going to be probably rolling this a couple of times, especially if you get air comms.
Okay. Both of you have Abathur in B tier. Let's put Abathur in B tier. Prestige-wise, I assume you want no prestige or Tulling Horror, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Alright, that makes sense. Let's move on. Alarak, where do we have him?
So the good thing is, as long as you have supplicants around, Alarak can tank a good amount if he's on the forefront, so that if he's maintaining the hero aggro, that will be a good thing. He powers up pretty good with Mothership, and that's pretty tanky. A straight up brawl, Now, with that being said, if they start going, if Nova really starts outputting damage and just you burn through supplicants, then it can spiral downwards real quick. So just be mindful about the positioning of your army. I have Alarak from A to B.
A to B. Wow. How about you, Tutu?
I don't know. Alarak is good against heroes in the late game. In the early game, it's kind of hard.
That's what she said.
Because for this one especially, he doesn't have enough AoE. Like he can push the units back, but then Dehaka will grab him and stuff, and then he'll eat a lot of supplicants. Your overcharges will, if they target the hero before the regular units, then you're just wasting tons of shots. And you might not survive to the later game. It's a lot harder. Hopefully your mothership doesn't get abducted and then like killed by all the other units. You can use force fields to wall off the heroes at the ramp if you don't want them to attack you. That's actually a good way to deal with them, but you need to be good with using force fields and the timing. Late game, once you have enough ascendance, then you can, I guess, with enough ascendance, you can even push up the middle, because you just destroy everything really fast. But until then, things can be pretty rough. I put Alarak in B.
Okay. Both of you have Alarak at B. So both of you are okay with B. Let's put Alarak in B. Prestige-wise, you want the third one, right?
Third one.
Okay, that makes sense. Arcturus, where do we have him?
This is his map, just like Oblivion Express. You can destroy all the objectives very easily. You can also destroy pretty much all the ground units before the heroes reach your base. And then if you're playing P3, you just throw a bunch of like troopers,
This is
explodey
inhumane.
guys at the air units, and they should be gone. And then whatever's left will be cleaned up by like you can have like sacrificial bunkers or just like e-base, and then you shoot the heroes with ESOs from ESO Island, and they're just gonna be slapping your e-base or something. I put Manx in S.
S? Wow. How about you, Eviling?
Yep. Usual Arcturus' map. Nothing is preventing you from building on ESO Island, and another major thing that Mechs can do, contaminated strikes. So you can take the attack wave out of the equation and essentially reduce the one of the buffs that the heroes are taking in from all the extra trash that's coming with them. Yes.
Okay. We have our first S tier. Didn't take that long. Arcturus in S tier. So you can either go first prestige or third prestige, whichever you like, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think third is better.
Third is better? Okay. Let's put Arcturus in S tier. Artanis, where do you have him?
Artanis, yeah, he's not well known for outputting damage. He even with shield overcharge and guardian shell, he's still going to be taking. He's going to be force regrouping quite a bit. I mean, it helps him and his ally to survive longer, but if you're not killing stuff in a good amount of time, then yeah, that's questionable. P3 is probably going to be his best bet, having the Unbound Fanatics go at it and whittle down the waves and heroes is going to be helpful, and then being able to shield overcharge, but that you can only do that so many times before you run out of energy. I have them from C to D.
C to D. How about you, Tutu?
Artanis, his his unit of choice against heroes is Tempest. So you have to kill all the regular units first, and you can either use Spin Zealots with shield overcharge, or if it's all ground, that's probably best. If there's air, you probably need Unbound Fanatics or F10Q. So So either one, but once you clear the regular units, Artanis can really deal a ton of damage to the heroes from the air, and most of the heroes are weaker against air than against ground. Like Zeratul can't even hit air. Artanis's air attack is weaker than his ground attack because he also can't charge, and so on. Also, since you're using Tempest, you can attack the third area and fourth areas like much more easily than someone going in from the front.
Yeah, the
With all that
side route. Yeah.
Yeah, I put Artanis in C.
Okay. Both of you are okay with C tier. Let's put Artanis in C tier. Prestige, you want the third one, right? Since we both mentioned the Archon dudes, Unbound Fanatics, right?
Correct.
Yes.
All right, I was afraid of something else. All right, let's put Artanis in C tier. Dehaka, where do we have him?
Dehaka, so he has like creeper hosts, which are kind of like ESOs. You just go to the same areas and then you shoot the objectives. So he has that down. His creeper host can also burst down air and ground units. Plus, he can tank with
Pack leaders.
pack leaders. The problem is that the later waves, you might need more than one pack leader. I'm not sure, and you can't just go all creeper hosts. You'll still need regular units, probably guardians, to hit the ground. And your creeper hosts, you have to target, because if you just let them attack, they might hit the hero, and the hero will have Hardened Will, and then you're wasting shots. So you'll need some sort of sustained damage, not just creeper hosts. I put Dehaka in A.
A tier, not S tier. How about you, Eviling?
Yep. The problem with the creeper host going after stuff with Hardened Will, it's gonna make microing them a bit difficult. But he has the firepower to do it. His pack leaders have the Hardened Will to handle it, but yeah, it's not as straightforward as Minx. So A to B.
A to B. So prestige wise, you want both of you said A.
Two.
Prestige wise, you want second one, right? 2. All right.
Yes.
So you want the I forgot what it was called.
Primal Contender.
Primal Contender. All right. So you want second one, Primal Contender. Let's move on. Fenix, where do we have him?
Phoenix is very well known to do well in straight up brawls, and this is a straight up brawl. So using P2 supercharge Cal Dallas and send him in, and if he dies, just send in another one. The main thing is being able to maintain that front. If Cal Dallas keeps on going down and they get to your shell farm, then you're kind of screwed. But definitely he has a lot of capability, and then if you can throw in all the other champions, that's more bodies, so that Cal Dallas is not taking in all the pressure at one time. And if you can bring a conservator near to the front line, throw up their auras, and then that should allow you to come out on top of the fight. A to B.
How about you, Tutu?
So if you're fighting a ground comp, very easy. If you're fighting an air comp, very hard actually.
That's what she said.
Because when you have like carriers or Tempest long range air units in the back, it's hard to reach them. And if you don't kill them, you can't start hitting the heroes. So you need to position your Dragoon suit in a way that won't get killed by heroes, but you can blast down the air units in the back, and you have you only have one chance. You only get one shot! Because if you miss, then you're kind of screwed. The other thing about Fenix is that on this map, you have to know how to attack the third set of shards from the back. There's a specific way to do it, and if you don't know, then you're not really doing the objective for later. You're just spending a lot of time killing heroes. So yeah, he's still easy to use, and as long as you roll a ground comp, it'll be really easy. So I put him in A.
Okay. Both of you have Phoenix in A. Let's put him in A. You want second prestige, so you have the more effective heroes, right?
Yep.
Let's
I
move
would
on.
suggest, or just to add on Phoenix, if you're trying to get at the back stuff, remember, Arbiter Suit can stasis the heroes. So if you need to get at like regular units, just stasis the heroes, get at the back units, and when the stasis wears off, then deal with the heroes.
All right then. So Phoenix in A tier. Let's move on. Han and Horner, where do we have them?
If you're fighting air, you're screwed. Like you need your Magmines will not reliably take out air units. For ground parts, if you can time your strike fighters to hit them right when they spawn, that's kind of nice. But if you can't, then you're gonna have some trouble.
We're in trouble.
You have to like basically strike fighter all the dudes before they get close, and then somehow when you're fighting heroes with just your battle cruisers or reapers or something, you're still gonna lose a lot of stuff. So it's very, very ugly. You can use your 2 cooldowns to deal tons of damage, but you also have to time them well, use them well, so that if you use Call in the Fleet on just the heroes, you will kill them. But if there are regular units still around, then Hardened Will stop that in its tracks. It's very hard to use. I put them in D.
D. Wow, even lower than Artanis. What do you think, Eviling?
I have that Hana Horde in the same range as Artanis. C to D, as Tutu said. It's going to get ugly. They're going to have attrition rates. I would suggest going to P2 just so that you can get the Sovereign Battle Cruisers out, because those are going to be your best bet on taking down the attack waves with the heroes. Of course, you need to be focusing on the right stuff, because just if you're not dealing with the attack wave before getting to the heroes, you're just doing yourself a disservice, because that's a lot of these DPS deck. Make use of the Hellbats. Their fear is going to be pretty major, and in the Hellbats, they are definitely valid targets for a lot of spells. So they die, they fear, and a few more precious seconds to focus down on the right stuff. But still, as Tutu said, ugly CG.
Okay, so both of you have Hot and Horner in D. Prestige-wise, do you want the second one? I did play Hot and Horner before, but that was with a Phoenix ally. So Phoenix was taking care of the attack waves, and I just went mass airstrikers to focus down the shards. So that's probably not what you can do on the solo queue if you don't know that your ally can do the hero part. So you probably want the second one if you're going solo queue, right?
That's what I intend to go with.
Or then again, they are going to D tier, so I guess we don't recommend prestigious there. Yeah, that makes sense. We don't recommend prestigious for D tier. Alright, let's move on. Karax, where do we have him?
Karax. So, your static defense can do a fair amount of tanking when paired with shield batteries, but yeah, being able to withstand heroes is another whole new beast in itself. You can his stop bars are good, but against heroes, that's definitely much harder sell, because when they start coming out early, and if you're not on point with your macro to get your solar efficiency going, you might be running out of energy for this. It might be a harder press for him. I'd say he's maybe B to C.
B to C. Okay, so essentially you want to get your macro up, you want to have static defense out. Do you also want to do the little trick to bait out Nova's nuke? I remember there's a threshold of like 800 health or something in an area to trigger Nova's nuke. 1200. Okay, I thought it was 1200.
4 units.
4 units, 1200 health to bait out the nuke. So you can do that, bait out Nova's nuke, and then You have 45 seconds to destroy her before she uses it again. So you put Karax B to C.
60 seconds, right?
I thought it was 45.
Mhm.
Anyway, what do you think, Tutu?
Karax doesn't have any good army units that deal with heroes until you get enough carriers, which is way like later. So for Karax, his best unit against the heroes is carriers, but you don't get enough of them until like the late game. So you have to use towers, but towers can't run, so towers will get nuked. And if you lose enough towers to nukes, you're not gonna deal enough damage. If you use P1, you have the super chrono that takes out like every other wave because it's on a 5 minute cooldown. If you use P3, you have a purifier beam pretty much every wave starting from Nova, which actually can kill all the regular units. Then you just need someone else or your towers to deal with the heroes. So you have to position them well. And for the objective, you just use the usual mirages or carriers. I put Karax in C.
C. Okay, both of you have Karax in C, which is equal contribution, not terrible, but it is C, so that's where he goes. You want third prestige, right?
Or first.
Or first. Okay, so you can have like super chrono or super duper chrono. All right, Karax goes in C tier. Kerrigan, where do we have him?
Kerrigan's problem on this map is the first wave, because you're pretty much not helping. If you choose to help, you're gonna put yourself behind on economy, and if you're too far behind in economy, then you can't fight the later waves. If you're fighting air units, well, if you max immobilization wave, you can take out most of the units, but then if there are like scouts or void rays or something that have more than 200 HP, you're gonna have to kill them with something, which probably mutalisks, but then yeah, you'll need a lot of mutalisks to
Yes.
avoid like nukes and stuff. For the objective, I guess you normally would use an immobilization wave in the third area, but I don't think you can afford to spend one there. So you would have to like just fight normally.
Yikes.
And if you're using Mutalisk, kind of okay. If you're using like Ultralisk, maybe not. If you have enough of them, it's fine. But there are hybrids there, and they can buff up the nearby enemies. Also, Kerrigan gets sniped a lot by Nova.
Okay. So I'm being sniped.
So
Yes.
the third wave is going to be very, very hard. I put Kerrigan in C.
Kerrigan in C. What do you think, Eveling?
I have Kerrigan from C to D. So her reliance on hero first is going to hurt her, especially against Nova. She's going to get focused down quite a bit, and even when Dehaka comes out, if Dehaka grabs her, she's going to be perma-stunned, and therefore you become pretty much useless at that point, and you might even lose Kerrigan at that point. Omega Worms are good, and not, but we also have to consider the fact this is Rift to Korhal. She's going to suck against the first attack wave, so yeah, you got that to contend with. Otherwise, if you can survive her early game and start getting a bunch of Omega Worms out to distract the heroes, and then use your army to clear shards, bounce back and forth, then you should be okay. But it's just getting past that phase. So again, C to D. I think C is appropriate for Kerrigan.
Okay. So for the third and fourth set, can you just like fly an Overlord through the back and just use that vision to pop on a Megworm, so you don't have to go through like the pre-base thing? You know? Just pop Kerrigan through a
you can-
Megworm.
If you can find a spot to pop it out, usually the area is pretty littered with garbage, and as soon as Omega Worm pops, it's gonna get focused down pretty hard. So, yeah, it's possible, but I wouldn't say it's guaranteed.
Well, you know, it's better than having to go through an extra base, I would say. But, you know, it's up to you.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
If you can get it, great. If not, too bad. Try again. Kerrigan goes in C tier.
Yeah.
Prestige-wise, what do you want here?
0.
I'd say 3.
No, really? So why 3 and why no prestige?
Sliding through the regular enemies before 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
that's fair.
you can't kill groups of them quickly.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fire.
For me, 3 is more having the kinetic blast, being able to hit stuff on at distance would be putting Kerrigan less at risk. If she gets in there, she's gonna get focused down. So that's my reasoning for 3.
Okay, but either way, she ends up in C. So let's move on. Nova, where do we have him?
Nova is known for being able to output good damage, but she is also known for if you lose her army, you're gonna get pretty screwed just because of how her army cost and them being reliant on charges. So take that as you wish. The good thing is she has very good means on sniping the shards by going around the sides with her liberators. Now, what are you going to do about the heroes you have? The good thing is Griffin Airstrike is kind of like space lasers. The heroes can't really do anything about it other than if they kill your mineral line, then that's something they can do. But Nova has the firepower to do it. She has defensive drones to semi-tank it a little bit. But if she starts taking on losses, it could be close to game over for her. She's B to C, in my opinion.
How about you, Tutu?
Nova has all the tools needed to beat this map easily. Her issue is against air, but airstrike is really good, so you can easily take out pretty much all the air units except battle cruisers. And they always walk down the same path unless... Oh, no, because heroes are ground units, they will always walk down the same path, even if the enemies are all air units. Because if it's like Fleet of the Matriarch, they might fly down the side.
Yeah.
But then for this one, with heroes, they will always walk down the same path. So you can like sabotage drone to get vision and then line up an airstrike. And if you're okay, if you know how to do that, the next thing is you throw Raven turrets to bait out the nukes or the Kerrigan's Apocalypse, and then you defensive drone and then shoot them down. So as long as you know how to do that, I think she's A. If you don't know how to do that, then you put her in B or C. But if you know how to do that, she's really good.
Did you say A, Eviling, or did you say B?
I said B to C, but I'm not opposed to A. She has the tools to do it, but yeah, you gotta have to be on point with her execution.
Well, it sounds like an execution issue to me. Does that warrant an A star?
Yeah.
Is A star okay for you?
Just, if you don't know what you're doing, you shouldn't use the commander.
Yeah.
I mean, I could probably give myself that advice, but that won't stop me from using the commander if I wanted to, you know. But
but then you just know, just as long as you know it's not A in your hands, then yeah.
What about the Dunning-Kruger effect? Like, you think you know how to use a commander, but like, you really don't. You just have that false confidence that you do.
Well, you'll find out the hard way.
No, you won't. You'll get carried by an Arcturus, and then you'll think Nova's really good. Anyway, both of you are okay with A tier, it turns out, so let's put Nova in A tier. Prestige-wise, third one?
One.
First one. You want a lot of Ravens and Liberators, so it can be out of the nukes.
Yeah.
All right, Raynor, where do we have it?
If you're fighting against ground, you have a chance.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
If you're fighting against air, you have close to no chance because the heroes will be on the ground. Your only means against the heroes is spider mines, and with Hardened Will, if you don't take out all the regular units, you're going to die. in the late game, if you're using P3 and you have enough battle cruisers, that can actually work. But if there are air units, you're gonna have to shoot them, kill them, take them out first. You have to be really good with your shots. If you use a Hyperion to take out the units, you have to line up the shot really well and not get grabbed by Dehaka or something. Yeah, and you have to put your mines. You have to also spread out the mines so that they don't all hit the same units.
Yes.
Or like they
don't all die
they
to
don't
the same
get killed by
spell.
like a nuke.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or a single storm or a single tank
So-
shot. Anything.
There's a lot that you have to do just to get like the bare just to survive really. I put Raynor in D.
D tier. What do you think, Eveling?
Yeah, Raynor is not known for having durable units, and this is going to really test that very well. I have Raynor from C to D. Pretty much, as Tutu said, Spider Mines are going to be your best bet. With all that he said on top of that, keep in mind that vultures do have a high aggro priority, so you can kind of skirmish and bait the heroes into your spider mine fields because they're going to chase this. They're going to chase the vultures. So yeah, that is something to do. And then what if they're going to use like a nuke or something, especially if you have a big clump of vultures, Nova's going to see that, oh, let's nuke that, or let's Banning Barrage that. If you have afterburners, hit that, you'll take very minimal or minimize the amount of damage they're taking, and then bait them toward the spider mine field. P3 is going to be your best bet. Use the spider mines to camp that little bridge area, and then from there just start pumping out your battle cruisers so you can get the Hyperion cooldown down. C to D.
Okay. Both of you are okay with D. Let's put Raynor in D. You could have just said, just pick a better commander. That would have saved you a lot of effort, you know? Anyway, let's move on. Stat Boy, where do we have him?
Yeah, Super Duper Gara is super duper good for this. He can tank a good amount, brawl with the heroes, and sustain his army. Lings are great for just tying up the heroes. I have him from S to A.
S to A, even with the first wave problem?
Yep.
Okay, what do you think, Tutu?
Yeah. So the first wave is the only hard part of this game. So if you survive it, like the fact that the rest of the mutation is just so easy, you can overlook the fact that the first wave is a little bit hard. It's not even like impossible. So it's not even like that much harder. It's similar to Kerrigan, but you can afford to sacrifice your economy a little bit, because once you just have Gary, you'll do so much more. And with Super Gary P2, you can kill all the regular enemies with 2 Egorbs. So it doesn't matter what the enemy comp is. And then your Lings don't care about the heroes. You can add Ultras for more damage. So yeah, I put him in S.
Put it stat point S. Okay, so both of you have stat point S. Let's put stat point S. You want the second prestige, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's put stat boy in S. Stukov, where do we have him?
Stukov, this one with inspiration, the enemies actually get more armor. So P3 is actually not going to do a lot of damage until you have a lot of bunkers. So before then, you're not doing much. You'll still need tanks, and even with all that, how are you going to hit the third set of shards? So you probably need Banshees to hit the third set, because if you're going from the front, it's going to take forever.
Are we there yet?
No!
Are we there yet?
Yeah, I don't think he has. Oh yeah, and if there are air units, you're screwed. So if there are ground units, you can have tanks and stuff to kill them, to take them out easily. But if there are air units, you will need, like, if you're trying to run Diamondbacks to the back, that's not good. If you're trying to use Liberators, like, you might lose quite a few of them before they reach the air units. So it's gonna be rough. I put Stukov in D.
D. Oh wow. What do you think, Eviling?
Yep, I have some Stukov from C to D. He's going is like you can send waves and waves that are infested, but if they get gunned down, which they will by heroes and inspiration and Hardened Will, especially your propensity for your average Stukov player to focus down their infested on certain targets. That's hard. You hardly see that in random queue. So he's there's going to be a lot of wasted DPS. So I am C to D. I guess 3 is going to stave off. If you're using P3, that's going to stave off the inevitable or delay the heroes enough for your ally to do something.
You're basically your ally's meat
yeah.
shield at that point.
Pretty much.
Oh my Donnie. Okay, Stukov goes in D tier. Both of you agree. No prestige recommendation since he's D tier. Swann, where do we have him?
Swann, I have him from C to E to C because he has P1, he has floating factories that they can tank a good amount, and now with that being said, they can tank a good amount, but can they tank inspired heroes? That's another thing. You're still going to have to rely on hopefully your ally and also other aspects to Swann's comp, static defense, your wraiths. I don't know if it's going to be. It could be clean depending upon your comp. It can be very messy depending upon comp. So, but he has a good tanking ability. So, and he has good damage. So he could do it. B to C.
B to C. What do you think, Tutu?
So Swann's concentrated beam cooldown is 3 minutes, and the attack waves come every 3 minutes, which means that you can concentrated beam every wave and just take out all the regular units, and you're left with the heroes. So what you have to do with the heroes is you float like 15, 20 factories, and you just drill them down. Keep them away. The only hero you can't kill is Zeratul, because he's invisible. So you need a detector, which means you might need like a bunch of missile turrets at home, or someone else be a detector and then drill them down. But if there are like if there are units that attack air, they might hit your detector. And if there are no units that attack air, Zeratul will walk towards your base and you can't hit him.
Can't touch this.
So you better put some like missile turrets plus blaster billies or something to take him out. And late in the late game, as the heroes have like a lot more HP, Artanis, Kerrigan, those kinds, you're gonna struggle. But the good thing is you're pretty much making factories and I guess some wraiths to deal with the objective. You can also use wraiths to fight the heroes, and the moving shot makes you deal a lot of damage, so that's kind of nice. I put Swann in B.
B. Okay, both of you are okay with B. Let's put Swann in B. Prestige-wise, so you want the concentrated beam here, so not first prestige.
Yeah, not the first prestige.
Second one. But you can still use the first one, right? If you would just slow down the heroes and just rely on your regular stuff.
No, you want to make sure the regular units die quickly.
All right, so Hardened Will is a very important mutator to nullify here. You need to nullify Hardened Will so you can actually fight the heroes. Okay, so Swann is one again. Nice. Tychus, where do we have him?
So for Tychus, he's not that good against heroes. So he's really strong, but he's actually not that good in the late game because Sam only has 3 charges of the grenade, and if there are more than 3 heroes, or if they have a lot of HP and you don't kill them in one shot, it's gonna be a bit problematic. Also, he has a bit of trouble against like Dehaka, because Dehaka, if he gets grabbed, then he's screwed. And you have to be really good with your grenade to kill all the regular units, and if there are some left behind, then Sam can't do his thing until the other guys are dead. So you maybe if you use P3, after 10 minutes you get an Odin, and Odin can tank a lot of shots, but then you can't like one shot the regular enemies then. So that's also not so good. You have to be really skilled with your outlaw control and your ability usage to make sure that all the enemies die, and then go in with Sam. I put Tychus in B.
B. What do you think, Eveling?
Yeah, I have Tychus from B to C. It's kind of similar to the Kerrigan issue. You lose your outlaws, then they can spiral out of control real quick. And there is a very high chance you're going to be losing outlaws, especially when Nova comes out with her snipe. But if you have the upgrade for Sam that does the stun lock, and that could definitely help out significantly. So yeah, B to C.
B to C. So both of you had Tychus in B. Let's put Tychus in B. You want second prestige, right?
Yeah.
All right. Vorazun. Where do we have him?
Vorazun. So heroes are all ground based, so her DTs are gonna definitely be able to do work here, and Corsairs and with Centurions can also do some work too with their stun lock abilities. So the thing is, she's still gonna be incurring losses regardless. So it could be heavy. The good thing is you have Dark Pylon Recall that can help. I guess pad the losses. I mean, they're still gonna if they get recalled. If it's not P1, then you're going to have stuff that's on the near brink of death. But she has good crowd control abilities. With P3's time stop, that's pretty much just a nuke on the shards. So she has the tools to do it. The main thing is just not losing all your stuff to the attack waves. I have her from B to C.
B to C. What do you think, Tutu?
So she has black holes and stasis web or stasis cocoon. What is that?
Wards.
Stasis orb. And then
Wards.
Stasis. Void stasis.
Also the oracle's stasis. And then she also has time stop. So with all those, the heroes are not that big of a problem. Although if there are air units, then you'll definitely need to get more Corsairs, which means fewer DTs. You need to know how to dump a stasis ward in a black hole. So if you don't know how to do that, you're gonna have trouble with later waves. If you use time stop on the heroes, you're not gonna be able to take out the shards. So you have to figure out how you can destroy heroes without time stop, or you leave the shards to someone else, your ally, and you use time stop on the heroes. So yeah, I put Vorazun in B.
B. Both of you are okay with B. Let's put Vorazun in B. She has one prestige, the third one, so she goes in B. Zagara, where do we have him?
So Zagara, she actually can. So for this map, the third area is pretty much free as long as you know where to place bio launchers. The 2 of the 4 shards in the fourth area are also free, and the back 2 shards or you can hit the 2 shards in the second area from the back. So it's like she can take out a lot of the shards without having to spend a lot of resources. Now for the heroes, you're probably just gonna roll a lot of banelings.
So many banelings!
And Scourge at them, and then for the heroes themselves, you run back and like let them get hit by bio launchers, and because bio launchers deal the most damage, like high damage output, and you just like tank. You use spines to tank for the bio launchers, but you need to know how to use them. I'm not sure if that should be A or B though. So one of those.
What do you think, Eviling?
Yeah, A to B is where I have Zagara. She has a lot of quick building units, and they just keep on throwing at the heroes. They're not Stetling level, but they still can output a good amount of damage, and you're just overwhelming the attack waves with stuff. Now, is that to say that you P1 is a good pick? I don't know about that, because again, Hardened Will is a thing, so you could be, if you're not picking your targets correctly, P1 can fall flat on its face real quick because you're gonna run out of all that blasting power. I would actually suggest P2 would be a better pick with this, since you can get your much more tankier units, get your stuff in, and if anything, if you need to have a separate attack force, you have mass corruptors that can go after the shards, and you do that while Zagara and everything else deals with the heroes. So, yeah.
Do the shards also have Hardened Will or not? I don't think they do, right?
I think they
not
give.
from what I remember.
They give inspiration.
They give inspiration, but
Yeah.
they don't get Hardened Will. So
Yeah, that would be a little messed up if they got Hardened Will.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So let's put A or B. So A or B.
I'm willing to go with A. I'm leaning more toward A.
Okay,
I was
Zagara.
leaning towards A.
Okay, Zagara gets A after all. I had her in B, but you know. Let's move on. Zeratul, where do we have him?
He has the potential to make this pretty trivial, but yeah, it's you're gonna have to buy yourself time to power up to get to that point. Whether or not the heroes are gonna allow you to have that time is another thing. But he's once he gets enough artifacts, gets his cannons going, gets yeah, you should all have cannons and an army. You should be able to roll this mutation pretty handedly. I have him from A to B.
A to B. How about you, Tutu?
I always find it hard to use Zeratul against Nova, because Nova snipes the crap out of him. So if you try to use a Legion on Nova, but you haven't baited out the nuke, then Legion is gonna get nuked, and you can't control them to run away. And then if you don't have a Legion, if you don't have anything to tank for Zeratul, then Zeratul's gonna get sniped to death. Around that time when Nova comes, you can find a third artifact, and if it's like not near your base, then you're gonna have to spend time, like you're gonna have to stall them somehow before you get an artifact. But later on, you can mass cannons, but until you get like 6 fragments, the cannons aren't actually that strong. And you also have to take out the regular units somehow. I guess if it's all ground, then you can use the Telbrus Legion and kill them, but if there are air units, then that's not going to be as effective. I put Zeratul in B.
Zeratul B. Did you say A to B, Eviling?
Yeah, I said A to B.
Okay, so both of you are okay with B after all. So let's put Zeratul in B. Prestige wise, you want the third? Is that you want the second one here or the third one?
Not the third one.
You want the demote
Yeah,
dude.
third one's not gonna have enough firepower. Yeah.
All right, so you want the second one?
Yes. In terms of which Legion to use, I've seen a lot of people last time this road using the Serdath Legion, the Dark Archon Legion, worked out pretty good. They have the most they have Maelstrom, they have the
mind control,
real beefy shields, and then the mind control. They're gonna go straight after the
big
units in an attack wave. So that's going to help reduce the amount of buffs that that are conferred onto the heroes.
That makes sense. All right, so Zeratul goes to B tier. So that's all the commanders this week. Do we have a double S? No, of course not.
No.
Who's best in S?
Stetmann.
Okay.
Yep.
And then Arcturus?
Yep.
Who's best in A?
Dehaka.
Dehaka, yeah. Is Dehaka A or S?
I think he's A.
Just because of the creeper host focusing issue.
Okay, you guys decided it. Who's second in A?
I would say Nova is better. Phoenix is easier.
So does that mean
So-
Nova is higher?
I would say Nova because she can do
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Phoenix and then Zagara. Who's top of B?
Vorazun,
Vorazun? Then?
Maybe Tychus?
Tychus.
Tychus or Zeratul, in my opinion.
Alright, yeah.
Tychus or Zeratul, just take your pick. Who's next?
The rest looks
Wow.
alright to
Wow.
me.
Swann bottom of B. Why is Vorazun the best in B, by the way? Because it just because of all the crowd control and the buff she
Crowd
gives.
control.
Yeah, it's pretty important. And then what would be the argument for Tychus over Zeratul and vice versa?
Tychus's crowd control is better than Zeratul's.
So it's all about crowd control. What is Zeratul's argument over Tychus?
Once he gets enough artifacts, then he can make it pretty trivial.
That makes sense. Who's top of C? Karax?
Karax.
Yeah, he has unity
Yep.
barrier will allow you to absorb a nuke. So that's one Nova gone. And then Artanis? Just because he can do the side thing?
I would say
Um,
Artanis because he's not relying on the hero.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Kerrigan. Who's top of D? These three again.
Well, Stukov is not always in D.
Stukov, I think, is better than the other two.
There you go, Evelyn. He had to say it.
Simpler.
Who's
Simpler.
who's better
Raynor's at the
between
bottom.
Raynor's at the bottom?
Raynor's-
That makes sense. That's
I think Raynor is better.
You think Raynor's better? Why?
The spider mines. Han and Horner. Yeah, I think we've mentioned before that it's gonna get ugly for Han and Horner, and for
I guess-
Raynor,
They're both equally screwed if there's air.
yeah.
Okay. So
They're both pretty screwed if there's
they're
air.
both pretty screwed. All right. So we can say they're both equally bad. I played as Han and Horner on this mutation. What I did is I just let my ally handle the heroes, and I just massed air strikers to clear out
So
the
you're not-
objectives. Yeah, I did.
So then you're
actually-
just playing Rifts to Korhal.
Yes, that's exactly what I did. I just played Risk to Coral. I let my ally handle the heroes. That's what I did here. My ally is Phoenix. So my Phoenix ally played the mutation. I played a regular brutal game. Which is pretty funny. But it does work out that way. Anyway, so I think that's everything. Wait, one more thing. There are only 6 commanders in S to A. Do we have combinations or synergies of commanders B or lower that would be better than Arcturus on his own?
A guy who can clear the map without having to see the objectives. Hard to beat that.
So that's Hot and Horner. And then, who else? Vorazun for the crowd control? Or Karax for the defense? So Hot and Horner has to be with someone, and who would that someone be? I think Vorazun
I
might
think
be
Swann.
Swann? Oh yeah. Swann's strength is that he can just snipe all the attack waves, or at least most of the attack waves using the laser drill, and then just worry about the hero
Tank to hero.
when it comes without escorts, meaning no buffs, no hardened will. That makes sense. And all Hot and Horner has to do is make use of that free gas. Swann will give free gas for your for your air strikers. And then you can just right click down all the objectives and you're done. All right, we finally have a use case for the gas mastery, which you probably shouldn't use, by the way, because you want the earlier laser drill. Trust me, you want the earlier laser drill. Anyway, guys, watch Tuti's videos. I will link them down below. We'll see you guys next time.